I didn't really want to do this one because it's another one of her gross mukbangs. But this is a continuation of her I worked in an office story where she clearly did not. But obviously she watches my live streams and my videos because I said if this really happened, then you would have said what your role was. You would have said that you were an executive administrator because she only gave us a little bit of information on the other video where she talks about this. But in this one, she goes into so much detail that it's so easy to tear apart, you guys. That I just, oh my God, even. It's right about here. Thank you, Sassy, for capturing the content. You do need to work on your mic. You got to fix your mic, girl.
Coming to work. So, do we need to give you a pat on the back?
Yeah, apparently.
Wow. Do you really need that pat on the back? That good job, Chantel, for going to work. Honey, this isn't work. This is just you sitting down having a meal.
Okay, so here's the problem with the way Chantel describes this experience. Well, I mean, there's lots of problems in it, which I will go through and point out. And just for those of you who don't know my experience, I was in IT for 20 years. I have held customer service roles. I've worked in an accounting department. I was a client resolution specialist who handled high level accounting problems for very large clients, like $1 million problems that I needed to figure out for the company so that we could resolve the books or collect on the issue. Um, I then was a proposal manager for 10 years. So I have been in various roles and I have worked with people at all levels of the company, including a lot of executive administrators, because they are the gatekeepers to the people that they represent, which is usually going to be your C level or, yeah, pretty much your C level. I don't think directors really get executive admins. That's pretty much the only people they're going to work for is like the C level. So, her story is such bullshit, you guys. Like, she is not going to be handed accounting tasks if she's working for a doctor, because they're going to have different people who are designated for billing, period. That is a different role than managing somebody's calendar, appointments, and meetings. Period. These are different roles.
Whatever you need to tell yourself to make yourself feel better, right? 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 It made me think. Because there are people that actually have jobs in your audience. They actually get up, go to work, and actually work, contribute something to society. So you're not contributing anything to society by making these videos and by tacking on ASMR to your videos. And you think that, oh, if I make it ASMR, then people are gonna like benefit from that. No. You are not an ASMRist, okay? You don't have the right equipment. Okay. Just no.
No, she's food
Stop.
porn.
Don't even try to infiltrate the ASMR community.
Of what a typical day at work was like for me.
Oh God, here we go.
On my most latest job.
Which is like how many fucking years?
It would have had to have been over 7 years ago. And I don't, honestly, based on her description of this, I don't think this actually happened at all. Because it makes no sense, no logical sense.
I should say my most recent job.
Which was how many fucking years ago?
I told you guys why I got let go. But I don't think I told you what like a typical day at work was like.
You showed up late and you fucked off all day. And that's why they fired you, right? Like, you did not get the job done and you were tardy. You had a tardiness problem.
God, you're so disgusting.
So a typical day, I would go into the office at like, I don't know. I think it was like 7 to 3.
No, the shift would have been 7 to 4 if that's what you, like, dude. It wouldn't have been 7 to 3. Come on now.
You actually got up early to go to work?
Really hated.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not a day person.
Me
Especially
neither.
at 7. But I was an admin assistant. I was a secretary for a group of doctors, for 3 doctors.
She threw that in for me specifically because she watched my live stream.
But specifically for one in particular.
Did you even really work? Or did you just fuck around?
Those are the hours she wanted me to work. So, I worked in a hospital.
She probably played solitaire all day or like played the little computer games that they put on the computers.
A mental health facility, hospital. And, there was always morning traffic. Especially in Ottawa, around that time. So for my commute, I used to listen to a morning show on the radio. If I had time, I would get a coffee. Sometimes breakfast. But usually, I would get to work, and I would park my car in the parking lot.
God damn, you're so slow.
Then I had to walk around to the front of the building. Let's go. Sometimes I would see another secretary that worked there, and she wasn't liked by any of the other secretaries because she was not like them. She wasn't like a gossip head, you know? And she spoke her mind. So I would see her out front, usually smoking. But I smoked back then. So I would have a smoke with her and we would shit talk the other secretary.
That's another reason this story is unbelievable, because most medical facilities, I know this is true in the US, but I imagine it's probably true in Canada as well, would require you to leave the entire property to actually have a cigarette. So, where were you smoking exactly? I don't believe it.
Let's try this. That's good. lettuce, tomato, pickles.
Actually, contributing something to society. Honestly, I wouldn't mind a job like that. Being a secretary.
Black olives, olive oil, vinegar, Southwest sauce.
Take pride in it.
Well, there's executive admin, which is what she has been describing. And I think they've retired the term secretary entirely because it was considered too gender based. So now, if you're talking like front desk work, that would be considered like receptionist.
I think onions too.
I think both of you at this point don't realize how skilled you have to be an executive admin. You are the gatekeeper to somebody who is rich and important in the company. Basically, that's what your role is. And oftentimes you have to put together the PowerPoint presentations based on some notes that you take from a meeting with your boss. And that's why the lack of Excel skills just makes absolutely no sense. All right, let's go.
Whew. Anyway. And then some of the patients would talk to us because they didn't have another designated smoking area. We had to smoke with the patients.
You were not smoking on that facility. If you were smoking, you either went out to your car to do it or you walked completely off the property. Period.
What health facility that she worked at?
I eat the seeds. Which way here? So then we would go upstairs. All day you would hear codes going off on the intercom. Code white. Inpatient north, blah, blah, blah. Code white was psychiatric emergency. Code blue was like medical, I think. Code red is fire. So they had a little tuck shop. Not a tuck shop, like a little coffee stand thing. Run by volunteers. That's good. And I would get like a coffee. I always got a Colombian and a big muffin. Oh my gosh. Too many peppers. Then I would make my way to my office. And I was so proud because I had my own office, and outside of the door, there was a metal plaque sign that said Chantal Estado.
Yeah, that's bullshit too. Executive admins generally have a large cubicle right outside of their boss's office. They are not designated with an actual closed door office. Because they're supposed to be the person that people can walk up to and say, hey, is this guy available right now? I have just a couple questions for him. You're supposed to be open and available. So the idea that she was behind a closed door is some bullshit, you guys. I can't.
I don't know why you ever quit.
She didn't. She was fired.
It's, but then again, it's like, would you really want something like her handling patient information? No. Job, because I wouldn't want something like this handling like patient, like personal.
I don't think you have to worry about that because they're not going to handle that kind of information. They're not going to, I mean, they may transfer files between people and stuff like that, but they're not going to be exploring it and diving into it. It's not something where they need to dig into and get into the raw data of patient information, or in the case of IT, it would be like company sensitive information, stuff like that. They may have access to transferring those files to like maybe upload them to a safe storage area, not Google Docs, but there's like there are various companies that they use that are secure, that they use to store their documents for transferring larger files. And so if she was an executive admin, she might have been tasked with stuff like that. But there's no way she's going through that bullshit. She's not. Because she is getting, if she actually had this job, she's getting tapped all day long about the availability of the doctor. Can I speak to him? Can I schedule a meeting with him? And so on and so forth. But she is now going to combine two different occupations together as though she did them simultaneously in one role. So I don't know whose channels she's been watching to get information on this sort of subject, but she's combining two different roles.
Information, working in a medical facility.
I'm like, I have my own office.
God.
So,
Wait, this is so boring.
Mm-hmm.
it's ironic. I worked in mental health.
She had it set up at 1.75 because Foodie Beauty, Foodie Beauty was that slow that it needed to be sped up to 1.75.
Because my mental health was, at the time, like, so were many of the secretaries. And actually, one of the secretaries was a patient there a couple of times.
I'm surprised by that because, like, when I was in a mental hospital, like, they told me, like, if ever I wanted to work there, that it would, like, it would be, like, a year where I wouldn't be able to apply.
Right.
Because, like, they told me that they had secretarial, like, positions open, but I'm just like, oh, I'm looking for a job, and they're just like, yeah, you can't apply because you've been a patient. So I'm surprised that this woman had been there a couple times and was still allowed to work there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It would be a conflict of interest. She's totally making this story up. This is such bullshit.
So, I would go to my office, sit at my desk, First thing I would do is check my emails, which I always had a ton of emails.
Right.
Open up the doctor's calendar for the day.
Mm-hmm.
Get her patient charts ready. Sometimes I had to book. So I reply to emails because I get emails from different departments.
You were not getting the patient charts ready. That is front desk activity. Can't, dude. I can't. I mean, look, I've been in several doctor offices over the course of my life, but especially during the last 2 years. And I can tell you all of our records are in the front so that the front desk can pull our records for the doctor when we check in. Because you don't know if somebody is going to skip their appointment. They pull our records when we check in. You are so full of shit. I can't, dude.
I would have to gather all her billing, submit it to finance.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That also gets handled by the front desk. The people in the front, the ones that they have designated to handle billing. You're so full of shit. I can't. Oh my God.
If there was a meeting, I would have to take the laptop, take minutes.
Mm-hmm. Right, you told us the other day, and sometimes they would speak in their doctor code, and you needed them to put it in layman's terms for you, right?
Listening to her talk about this job, it's like, I would love to have a job like that. And it's like, and now look what she's doing. Like, it just amazes me that she actually did this at one point.
She didn't. She didn't.
So messy. Set up teleconference. Order catering for meetings. I usually went with Epicuria in Ottawa. I think that's the name of it.
Oh, she's so gross.
That was yummy. So, it just depended what day of the week. But we usually had a team meeting in the mornings to discuss what beds were available, when beds were coming available for the inpatient section. Because it was always a crisis to have beds. People waiting.
Oh, yeah.
Overcrowding hospitals because they
It's the same over here.
needed to be transferred to our hospital, but there's no room. So mostly, when the patients would come, I would, get them checked in the system. I think the system was called Meditech, if I remember.
It seems like she wants people to follow up on this and verify it. I'm not going to be the one who does it. I don't care one way or the other. I just can tell that your details don't add up based on my own work experience, and they just don't add up, Chantel.
And then I had another part of my job that I found a bit difficult. Like, I was program administrator for, the intern doctors. The student doctors in, their last year. I don't remember exactly what I had to do.
Okay, so you're saying that you had three jobs. You were executive admin, you were part of the billing department, and now you're a program administrator? Okay, girl.
But I had to keep track of, like, I had to do admin work for their. They had a system they used through the University of Ottawa in the Department of Medicine. So I had to keep track of, like, I think hours that they did with the doctors that they were shadowing on in our
Did you have
and stuff like that.
like, is there a specific training that you can get first doing work like this? Because I would love to get into a job like this.
A job like this doesn't exist, Sassy. She totally made this shit up. Okay, I'm just being real. She's describing three different types of jobs.
So I had to use, like, a system that was through the University of Ottawa. I remember it being like a tough learning curve. That part of it. The 4-hour unit, I wasn't the program administrator. They hired someone new for that. And they wanted me, as a secretary level 3, to do the annual report. I knew nothing about the department.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, they wanted me to do, like, her and I to do, like, pie charts with statistics, and I'm just like, what the heck? Like, did I lie on my resume or something? Like, so.
Yeah, she did. She lied on her resume. She lied on her resume. See, usually for a job like that, you have to know, like, Microsoft really well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And see, in college, you can take courses for statistics and stuff like that, like specifically courses for that. So I'm just generally curious as to how she got this job. Because usually, isn't there a degree you would have to have for this?
No, not necessarily. I mean, a lot of companies will just require that you have a 4-year degree, and they don't care what your major was, right? And a lot of these skills can be learned on the job. This is where I want to correct you, Sassy, is that I'm an Excel expert, I'm a Word expert, I'm proficient at PowerPoint. These are skills that I picked up on the job. And you can prove your worth by saying, I know this formula, I know that formula, I know how to do pivot tables, I know how to turn everything into charts and graphs. Like, if you have the ability to explain your knowledge on the job interview, then and you can do it, effectively. Like, I don't know how, I just don't believe this really happened. This didn't happen.
On a job, given the fact that you'd have to know how to do statistics, statistical math, and stuff. Girl, see, I never got into that math, but like I know, like when in the building that I took one of my math classes at, they had literally the classroom next to mine was a statistics class, and I was always talked to people from that class, so like they would show me their homework and stuff. Like, oh man, my dad's really good at that though. See, my dad, he. I don't know how to explain this. He's a quality engineer, so like he would tell me like when computers first started becoming a thing, like they wanted to train him on computers, and like the company let him be trained by like IBM, whatever, and then he would train other people. And he's really good at statistics. He's really good at applying it, using it with Microsoft and stuff like that. Excel actually know, like is programmed to do statistics.
It is.
She would know if she, actually was trained on that. She would know that all you would have to do is apply it, and if you knew how to use Excel, you could apply it in Excel.
Within my first 2 weeks on the job, at the last job that I was at, like the last IT job I held, I was hired there in 2015 and laid off when we went into the pandemic in 2020. So within the first 2 weeks, I wrote a macro for Excel that took, this gal was so mad at me too, because she was on her way out the door anyway. She had put in her resignation, and she was meaner than Chantel. As far as I could tell, she was meaner than Chantel. I wrote a macro that turned her activity that took her at least a half day every Monday. It changed it into a 15-minute activity. Like I literally changed it into a 15-minute activity by writing a macro and having all the formulas and everything there for it. And this was for like a weekly staff meeting, you know? Some people cannot function in office settings, period. But I don't believe she even had this job at all. Or if she had it, it was nothing like what she's describing.
I actually did say that I knew how to use Excel. And the thing is, before this job, I never used Excel.
It's so fucking irresponsible. You could take a course. Now these days, like Microsoft, like they have courses that teach you how to use the applications. It's kind of I was gonna take one. I'm actually hoping to take one. It's a couple $100, and I was gonna save up for my YouTube, and it's like learn as it's at your own pace and stuff like that. But along with like a Google course,
you can probably find free lessons. You can find free lessons available to you. One source that you could probably look at is The Word Man. Dick Easom. He puts out a lot of content. It's mostly around Word, but sometimes he does Excel and stuff like that. And you can get just like easy content on how to do things. It's not that hard to find free instructionals on this sort of stuff. And I'll tell you, he helped me a lot while I was a proposal manager. I remember doing this one proposal that was like, it was like 1,000 pages, and it was in separate volumes. So there was separate files. There was volume 1, volume 2, volume 3, volume 4, and I had to create a table of contents for everything in the entire proposal for all 4 of those files, all of those documents. He's the one who gave me the initial instructions. There was a little bit of a problem with the instructions, so I ended up having to figure it out on my own at the end there. But I got this shit done. I got it done, and that was a massive undertaking to learn how to do something like that.
But I actually did train on Microsoft, but I didn't really get into like statistics very much. But yeah, it's so much easier than doing it with Excel than doing it by hand.
Absolutely.
I had to be tested on Excel before I got the job, and I just managed to just use common sense, and I just managed to figure it out. I don't know, like I passed.
Surprised by this. I really am. How? How? You know what they should have done? They should have asked her for a certificate. Microsoft, and I think even maybe back then when she was working at this place, they have certification programs for their application. They should have said, hey, we want a Microsoft like certification.
I think I watched like a 10-minute tutorial video, and then I was able to do it. And then I did have to use Excel like every day.
I mean, the fact that you're able to pick it up after a 10-minute video, I mean, that does show that she has some form of like aptitude, I guess. I mean, I'm just taking it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I don't know if I believe this, but I do believe that, yeah, she would have to use, obviously, in that kind of job, she would have to learn how to use Microsoft and Excel and stuff like that.
Yeah, this didn't happen. This is a bullshit story. Come on now.
That.
So yeah, the doctor would go on like vacation, like not vacations, but like work business trips all the time. So she would give me her flight, like I had to book flights for her, hotels. She would give me the receipts, and I had to send them to finance for billing. Problem was, I had big
Did a shit job because you didn't know how to use the software properly.
shoes to fill, because the reason they were looking for a new secretary for this doctor, her personal secretary, which the position I was filling, had just retired after 25 years of working with her. She knew everything the doctor liked. She knew the job very well. When you're working with someone for 25 years, you know, and her and I just didn't get along very well. So I think she just expected too much of me right off the bat.
Let's be real. The fact that you don't know, you went into that job not knowing how to use Excel, or Microsoft in general, and you lied about that.
Mm-hmm.
That's,
She didn't seem to like me. I don't know why. And so I thought, okay, you know, I tried my best, but eventually it began to wear on my mental health even more, to where I wasn't even motivated to come in. I would call in sick a lot, yada, yada. So anyway, it ended up
well, that was so inconvenient for the doctor.
being that I ended up getting canned, but it was like wrongful canning. So I ended up getting a settlement, pretty decent settlement, and unemployment. So, and then that's when I decided.
Canning, I'm sorry. You deliberately called in sick and stuff because you didn't want to work anymore. You should have just quit.
To try YouTube out. I didn't even expect to make any money, just for fun, I guess. I wanted to do makeup.
No, it's even worse that the company actually gave her a settlement. I guess they were afraid that if they let her go, she would apply for unemployment, and that would end up costing more, right? So they basically offered her a severance. But, I mean, I don't even know if this really happened, because her description of it is so off the wall. It's so ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, and enjoying the free ride. You know, I had to sign a paper that I wasn't allowed to talk to the media about what happened, but they basically in my dismissal paper said that I was let go because I was leaving work early, which is total bullcrap, because I was salaried. So I worked late every day almost, because I was having trouble keeping up with some of the emails and stuff like that. So I thought, okay, it's quiet. There's not anyone that's going to bother me with more work today. I can stay a bit later and finish some. And they lied. They completely lied. I could understand if they were like, it's not a good fit. You're not able to do certain tasks like that annual report, stuff like that. Or if I was calling in sick too much, but like to say that I was leaving early, it's just complete BS, you know?
Early. Mm-hmm. Obviously. You think that they won't check this stuff, Chantel? They will. They like they found either she's lying and they did have evidence,
Mhm.
or she's telling the truth and it was just their way of trying to get her out because they were sick and tired of her not doing her job.
Yeah, I think it's that.
So, yeah, it was unionized. So I'm so happy it was unionized because the union was the one who fought for me to get a settlement because they were like, I don't know. It was just, yeah, it was a mess. But
Oh, here we go. Oh my gosh, even. Wow. Generally, a union will be there for you during like disciplinary. They will be there to ensure that due process happens. But if you're a fuck off employee, they're not. This is where the story gets even more incredulous, you guys.
it was a decent job. It paid very well. I was making like $29 an hour when I left, around that. It came out to like $29 an hour, something like that. But it was like per year because it was salaried. I think it was. I don't even know. Anyway, I remember I ended up working late and not even, being able to claim the extra hours. It's just what people did. Sometimes you work late, blah, 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 So it was just exhausting. And that was a promotion. Like, I got promoted up from the temporary job I was in. I was filling a maternity position in another department, like schizophrenia department. And the time was coming close where the girl was coming back. So I started looking at internal postings, right? And that came up. And I was bilingual because the doctor was very French. So they liked that I was bilingual. And so I talked to the doctor in pure French. I never talked to her in English, really.
Bilingual.
I guess I just, she didn't think I was good enough. I know that's the real reason. We just didn't get along. And
You didn't know how to do your job, okay? You didn't know how to use the software, and your French is shit, okay? Come on now. They're just looking for a reason to get rid of you.
we butted heads a lot. So, yeah, that's part of my life I thought I'd tell you about that's more recent than my childhood. I mean, after that, I started YouTube, and I told you guys so many things about my life, so many story times. Then I started doing lives and showing you my life day to day, being very open about everything. And now I guard some of my privacy. I'm still pretty open about a lot of things, and I have been. I never learn.
Anything. So what else can you talk about in present day?
Anyway, I guess that's it. That was so good. Yeah, I was so hungry. So yeah.
Thank God this is almost over.
That's all I have to talk about. And I have nothing else to eat. I feel satisfied but not stuffed. I'm definitely a bottomless pit. I gotta watch for that.
No, you're not. You're expanding. You're not a bottomless pit. It doesn't go straight out of you. You are expanding constantly. You're stretching out your stomach. You're overworking your organs. You can't compare yourself to a teenage boy, period.
I don't know how Substock gets away with being pretty much an exact replica of Subway without, like, how is it legal? Because there's steak and cheese. Like, the ingredients are the same, but it's just has nothing to do with Subway. I don't remember the story, but anyway. All right, guys. I guess that's it for now. I had too many olives. I love Olive. Olive is my middle name. Mary Olive. All right, guys. Thanks for having dinner with me. I hope it made you hungry. I hope you had something good to eat. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Okay, Sassy. I will put your link in the description when I load this up. But holy crap on this bullshit. That job didn't exist. She did not have that job.